Okay, so today we are going to do a reflection, but we are not going to do a Flipgrid reflection. We are going to do a written reflection. And you've read more than enough to do this. And the thing that's going to be challenging today is just thinking about what you've learned and being able to use what you've learned. So, this is what you're going to do today. First step is you're going to scan through your articles that you've read. So you could just scan through what you read this week or what you've read all total. Then you're going to think of an opinion, idea, or statement about what you have learned. Okay, this is going to be the tricky part, and I'm going to help you with this. You're going to think of an opinion, idea, or statement about what you have learned. And then you're going to prove that opinion with 2 facts. So you're kind of writing like a reading response, but about Capstone. So let me give you some examples of opinions about what you've learned, okay? And so you understand what I'm talking about. Now, you know that I'm doing slavery. So I have 2 opinions that have popped up this week that come from what I've learned. So one opinion that has come up, or idea or statement from what I've learned, is the end of slavery was very challenging and difficult for freed slaves. So based on what I've been learning, even though slavery ended, it was still difficult for those Africans who were enslaved after slavery was abolished. It was still hard. It wasn't like, woo, everything's perfect now. So that's one opinion I have. Another thing I've learned, in kind of an opinion I have, is that I think slavery lasted so long because people were greedy for money. I think a big reason it didn't end when it should have ended, when Vermont ended it, is because there was so much money involved. So those are 2 opinions I've come up with because of what I've learned. All right. Now, I looked at some of your topics. Here are some examples that connect to your topic. Smith, he's studying Legos. And maybe an opinion or an idea he's noticed is it took a lot of luck and creativity for Lego to become the company they are today. Okay, maybe. Want, studying video games. Maybe he would say there are many ways to make video games educational. A lot of the articles he's read are about video games in school, Minecraft used by teachers, this and that. So maybe that's an opinion he's forming, an idea he has. Kellen has been researching sinkholes. And maybe about sinkholes, he says sinkholes can be very destructive. He's read a lot about them, and that's one thing he can definitely say about them. They're destructive. They're dangerous. James, studying refugees. He might say, life is still difficult for refugees after they escape. So he's been reading about them. He knows their life before, and when they're in warfare is hard, their escape is hard, but he's gone, man, even when they escape and they're trying to start a new life, it's still difficult. Okay? So that's what you're doing. You're thinking about what you learned, and then you're coming up with an idea, an opinion, or a statement, and then you're going to prove it. So let me show to you what I'm talking about. So let me first split my screen here. I'll get rid of this, or not, yep. And I'll pull. Sorry, guys. Okay. So the first step is to look through your articles, right? That's the first thing I want you to do. So I just want to go through and remember the things I've read so far. So, I read about that abolitionist, William Wells Brown. I read the Britannica article about after slavery. The TrueFlix chapter about slavery, about like the beginning of the end, pretty much. And I read on Britannica, you guys, I didn't do a video on this, but about Jim Crow laws. And these laws after slavery they made to have segregation. I did the Brain Pop video about the start of slavery, the TED Ed video about the start of slavery. So my first step is to review my research, just so it's all fresh in my head. Now I'm going to think of an opinion. And I already told you two of my opinions, and I'm going to go with, I'm really into this. The idea that life was very difficult for freed slaves after slavery was ended. I think that's the opinion I want to prove. And now I'm going to prove it with at least 2 facts. Okay? So in your section that's called Flipgrids and Responses, right? You're going to make a new post. And we're going to call it, what's a good opinion response number 1. Okay. And my opinion is that life, maybe I'll do my opinion in all caps. Life was very difficult for freed slaves after slavery was abolished. Okay, there's my opinion. Now I have to find 2 facts to prove that. So I go back to my research. I'm going to move it over here so I can. Now I go back to my research. How can I prove life was difficult for freed slaves? You remember in Britannica that many white Southerners were against freed slaves, and a lot of people had to move north to escape that discrimination. So I'm going to write that there. That's how I'm going to prove it. For example, many white people in the South didn't want freed slaves to have freedoms. So many black people had to move north. This shows life's difficult, right? Challenging. Yeah. Okay. But I want 2 examples. I want 2 pieces of proof. These Jim Crow laws. So the South started passing laws that separated blacks and whites. So they were laws that said schools had to be separated, restaurants, libraries, parks, all of these public things had to be separated. So another example is that the South passed Jim Crow laws. These laws said white and black people had to be separated. Oh, guys, and I also learned in this that it's not just in the South. Even northern states had some of these laws. This shows life was full of obstacles for, I want to say more than obstacles, full of unfair and horrible obstacles for freed slaves. Okay, and then I just move it back to my response area. All right, and there it is. So just to review, I know it was kind of a long video because I wanted to do the whole thing for you, but I want you to scan through your articles to kind of remember what you read. Then you're going to think of an opinion, an idea, or a statement about what you learned, and you're going to prove that with 2 facts from your research. And you're going to write that in your response section. Okay? Notice you don't have as much work today. It's Thursday. You don't have word work. You don't have science. You don't have writing. And a lot of that's because this is going to take time. I want you to spend like 30, 40, 50 minutes on this. And a good chunk of that should be thinking. Okay? Text me, message me, Google Hangout me, and be like, Mr. Lambert, this is what I've learned. Can you help me with an opinion? Okay? Don't text me like, Mr. Lambert, I don't know what to do. Give me some information. Tell me some things you learned. Tell me what you like, and I'll help you come up with an opinion, and then you can prove that sucker. Okay? All right. May the force be with you.